This woman is on X Games mode. I get like 7 character names in one page and I'm like, wow, I don't know any of you guys. I love it here. I really do. I really do. This might be shallow, but I 100% would have rated this book higher if this guy was my type. Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name's Nidhi, if you didn't know, and you are about to witness the greatest video I have ever made in my life. You're welcome, everyone. I have blessed you. 2021 has already been a good year. So, as you can tell by the title, I'm just gonna hop right into it. I'm reading Chandler's lowest rated books. What prompted this video is because a couple months ago, I filmed my mid-year book freakout tag, and one of the books I wanted to read, or was looking forward to read, was the Darken trilogy, and then Chandler commented this, and I was like, let me decide that for myself. Hello. I first of all freaked out that she commented, but then I was like, I have a video idea. Look at me being creative. Point is, I was like, if Chandler didn't like this book, maybe what if I like it? What if there's other books out there? Because Chandler and my tastes don't really necessarily align all the way. For example, The Song of Achilles, The Darker Shade of Magic is one of my favorite books of all time. Both of my favorite books of all time. And she didn't necessarily vibe with those books. And then some of her favorite books is like Vicious or The Guy on the Right or the Left. I don't remember. I DNF both of those. And they're like her favorite books. Oh, Punk 57 gave that 2 stars. Yeah. I don't think we necessarily have the same taste, which is totally okay because anything she recommends, I'm like, add to TBR, you know? Before I talk about the books I'm reading, Chandler's taste and all of that, I'm just gonna gush on how much I love Chandler. She has always been my favorite booktuber, and the fact that Chandler follows me and comments on my videos is like literally surreal. The fact that Chandler's in my DMs. I've won. It's not a competition, but like I've literally won. I don't know what I'm winning, but I've won. If you don't know who she is, which I find that so hard to believe, like literally unsubscribe from me if you don't know who she is. That is disrespectful. I'm kidding. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm not kidding. She's the queen of booktube. She's my favorite content creator. I love her so much and respect her so much. She's one of the most loving and kind and caring, welcoming people that I've ever met on this platform. I've subscribed to her before she was even at 5K. I've been an OG. Not that I need to prove myself to you guys, but back in 2019, this is me retweeting her thank you for 5K tweet. And it was above a Emma Books tweet talking about Shadowhunters and below a Halsey tweet talking about Umbrella Academy. Pretty much summarizes me as a person. Also, back in 2019, here's me nominating Chandler as Book Shimmy Creator Nerd of the Year. Anyway, back to the video. Chandler does this amazing thing called taste tests on her channel. So me being the creative mastermind and original content genius I am, I was like, let me just do a video where I see if our tastes align for books she doesn't like. Chandler is a much more adventurous reader than I am. She chooses books for her secret TBR videos that like she doesn't think she's gonna like. I'm not gonna do that because I want to give every book a fair shot. Plus, like, life is too short to read books that I don't want to read. I'm sorry, you know me by now. So I've chosen 4 books that have already been on my TBR. Alright, this video is long enough, so let me just explain the books really quickly. I'll explain them more in detail, you know, as I read them, obviously. The first book I have, Darken by Kirsten White. This is what sparked the video. I don't know much about this other than I've heard it's like Vlad the Impaler but female. My twin sister really loves this book, but she's like really into history and that kind of stuff. While me, on the other hand, I barely passed AP World with an A and I got a 3 on the exam, so I don't know what that tells you. I'm not really a historical fiction girl. I do love The Book Thief. It's one of my favorite books of all time, but that's just like different in my opinion. I'm a little bit on the fence now, knowing that Chandler doesn't necessarily like it. The next book I have is The Wicked Saints. I don't know anything about this book other than the title, and it hints maybe at a romance from the synopsis, and you know I'm in for a good romance. Even if none of them satisfy me, I'm in for it at least. I know what I like in fantasy, and I really don't think I'm hard to please. Like, if you have some romance going on and the plot is like pretty okay, I think I'm easy to please. Like, just don't be boring, you know? All I know about Chandler's thoughts is from her Goodreads review, so I guess I have to watch out for Nadia. And I also know she read this for reading her Twitter followers' most disappointing books. So knowing a lot of people already don't really like this book is putting me on edge, but I'm kind of hopeful. Alright, the third book I have is The Couple Next Door. I feel like I go through phases in my reading. Like, 2018 was very much a thriller phase until I read a lot of them and realized that they were all literally the same thing. In 2020, I went through like a poetry and graphic novel phase. Right now I'm in my manga phase. Chandler called The Couple Next Door white mediocrity, and that's how I feel about many thrillers. So super excited to feel the same way about this one. I was actually kind of excited to read this book when I put it on my TBR, and then I just recently saw Read with Cindy's Worst Books of the Year video, and I'm like, nice, nice. Very nice. The last book I have on this list is romance because it's only fitting I read romance for the romance queen of booktube. And that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which is, in my opinion, a high fantasy, but you know, Google says it's romance as well. I read this book when I was in 8th grade, which is like 3 years ago, and I gave it 5 stars at the time. What I remember is that I really loved how atmospheric it was. Chandler rated this 2 stars on Goodreads, which is understandable because I know it's very hit or miss for some people, but you know, I still have faith in little 8th grade me. Maybe she knew what she was talking about. I think I know my taste pretty well. I feel like this is gonna be a book for me, but you know, we're gonna find out. Lastly, after putting this list together, I was like, I am reading all from white authors. Like, that is not something I want to do. So when I go to Chan's Goodreads to see like if there's any POC authors rated low, she's rated them all highly, because the only 2 books I could find were When Dimple Met Rishi, which I also rated low, so I agreed with her. And then I think she gave Frankly in Love 2 stars. I personally gave it 4 stars because I had a really good book club discussion on it, but like thinking about it now, I'd probably give it 3 stars. So I guess I'm gonna have to read from all white authors in this video, so that's exciting. Anyway, let's get to reading. I'm trying to get as much angles as possible, so I'm very sorry for these angles, but like I only have one window. That's where all the light comes in. Anyway, I'm already filming today, so I thought I'd just give an Darken update. I'm on chapter 6. I'm reading it via ebook because like library holds and all. Most of these books I don't think I have in physical format. All I can say about Darken is that this woman is on X Games mode. This girl is a savage. She is bougie, ratchet, she is all of that. I don't think she's mentally well. Like, I genuinely think she's a sociopath, and her brother is a cat emoji. He will not stand up for himself. He just stands there and I'm like, move, just move. Lotta is a lot and her brother is useless. I think I'm enjoying it so far. There's lots of historical facts, you know, just thrown at you. So we're still getting used to the setting and all of that. It takes place in the 1400s, so that's expected. Let me summarize the book for you. Darken is basically a sibling story. It follows Lotta and her brother Radu. Lotta is a ruthless woman. That's who she's grown up to be, as women are, you know, not treated well during this time, or any time, let's be real. And Radu is much more on the softer side and very shy. Certain events take place where they're ripped from their home in Wallachia and have to go away, and they're raised in the Ottoman courts. From there, their paths kind of diverge and they kind of figure out who they want to be, what they want to do. To its core, though, I do believe it's a sibling story and how their lives interact and impact each other. This book is basically like a timeline of them surviving in this atmosphere, in this world, when different people come in and different people leave. So in that kind of aspect, it sounds very interesting, but it's also very info dumpy. One thing I was concerned about, if like the setting and the storyline of all the historical fiction facts and stuff like that would take over the main plot and character development, and I feel like that's kind of happening. So like right now, I kind of agree on Chan's rating because like it's personally not really my thing, having a bunch of historical fiction and having a bunch of info dumpy moments. Again, I'm only on chapter 6. Lotta is supposed to be like a morally gray protagonist, and I think the author has done that very well. But like one thing I do have to point out is that this book is YA, and it really hurts me when authors market their book as YA when it definitely deserves to be an adult kind of literature. That's my grievance also with YA thrillers. I just don't feel like it goes to that extent it could have gone because it's in the YA category. I feel like if this was marketed to adults or has an adult-like tone to it, it just could have gone that extra mile. It could make Lotta go crazy. It could make much more bloodier and horrific things happen. But because it's YA, I feel like there's some sort of boundaries set in place in this book, and it's just kind of hard to accept and not accept. There's also a bunch of adult literature and adult fantasy, for example, A Darker Shade of Magic, that reads more like YA, and I feel like Darken could have gone that path and it might have even had the same success. I just want more. I want it to be darker, grittier, to have more impactful things happening. But yeah, that's my update. See you soon. Hi guys, so I was not planning on filming today. As you can see, the lighting not very good, but I just got a text from my job saying one of my coworkers has COVID and they aren't like allowed to tell us who it is. Today's Friday, by the way, and I was shifted to work today, tomorrow, and the day after. So with nothing to do this weekend and this week, I will be reading because that is how I cope. It's so weird because I say I want hours and they shift me more and I'm like, I don't want to work, and then they take away my hours and then I'm sad. Like, food service, y'all. We love it here. Anyway, for an Darken update, I am over 200 pages into it, and I think I'm enjoying things so far because as a character-based reader, you know by now, we're getting so much more character development and character motivations, and that's what I'm in for. Speaking about characters, Lotta and Radu remind me of Zuko and Azula from Avatar. I don't know if it's because my head is empty and all I think about is Avatar, or because there's actual parallels there. This isn't a spoiler or anything because nothing of the Avatar storyline is in the Darken storyline, but Azula and Lotta have really great parallels. They're both victims of circumstance by their fathers, and they're grown up to be ruthless women due to the environment they're brought up in. I don't know if Zuko and Radu are anything alike, because Radu literally does nothing, but I do see much more of a soft-spokenness to them because they're always in comparison to their sister. As a character-based reader, my first thought is always to immerse myself in their position, see what the characters would do and how I would feel, and it is just heartbreaking to see these kids, like, they didn't ask for any of this. They didn't ask to be thrown in and out of different locations and different people when all they want to do is survive, and you can definitely see that there's now a gap bridging between these two siblings. With that being said about Lada and Radu, we are also introduced to so many other characters that I don't even remember learning about. I get like 7 character names in one page and I'm like, wow, I don't know any of you guys. All I know is my main 2. And as things are getting interesting, like, I have no idea if I want Lada to die or I want her to kill everyone. Like, I don't know where this story is going. I definitely don't think I'll be continuing on with the rest of the series at this point because, again, it's just not my thing what the story is structured to be, but we'll see. I'm gonna keep reading today and update you. Are these new angles a vibe or like no? I don't know. Point is, I am 60% through, and Radu, round of applause everyone, he finally grew a backbone. Lada, on the other hand, is fine, other than the fact that she's a psychopath. I'm really here for this book right now. Again, don't know if I'm going to continue on with the rest of the series. It is a trilogy. I'd have to wait and see on the ending if that suffices, but we are getting so much character development, and if that was what the book was from the beginning, I would have been on board, but the fact that we had to wait so long and go through so much to finally get here, plus another development happened. There is a romance in this story and nobody ever told me. Shameful. That's what it is. This romance just hit me like a whiplash because I don't know if it's a love triangle. It's now becoming a love square. Yeah, that moment, you know which moment I'm talking about. My jaw dropped because I did not pick up on the signals to realize that was happening. Things are certainly going crazy and I would care more if I remembered who these characters are. Again, I mainly just focused on Lada and Radu because that's all I know what is happening and understand. I feel like recently I've been looking down a little bit on YA because the books that have come out are just not my thing and not what I look for in books anymore, but I am enjoying this one. Rachel from Let Me in the Library, who's literally my mom, she'll be linked down below, please go check her out, recently told me that the Poppy War reminded her of like an anime and it reads like an anime, and I've been thinking about books like that, and this book certainly qualifies. There's just so much world building that goes into these characters, and especially each of them have a different motivation. For example, Lada wants to survive, Radu wants love and wants a home. So seeing how they contrast with each other and battle that out, and then to its core it's still like a sibling story, is wonderful. I know I'm giving a lot of compliments, but at the same time, it's looking like okay for me, like maybe a 2-star read, because again, it took so long to come to this point and I don't know if I particularly like where it's going since I don't really know any of the other characters, and that's what I'm here for. Okay, so I have 48% left. I'm gonna speed read that and then give y'all my final thoughts. Hey y'all! It's actually been a couple of weeks. By the way, your girl does not have COVID. She did get COVID tested and I am a socially distant queen. Never in my life did I think I'd have to get COVID tested because I literally don't go anywhere other than work and school, and it's just like, this is what happens when customers aren't mandated to wear a mask where you work. I love it here. I really do. I really do. About Darken, I was reading like 3 chapters a day, and I'm the type of reader that likes to read things in one sitting and one go because I really enjoy being immersed in the story all at once. So like the slow pacing I was reading is not something I'm used to. Therefore, I just thought I'd give y'all an update when I'm actually done with the book. So I have finished and I have decided I am rating it 3 stars because I did like it. I think this differs from Chan because I'm actually interested to continue on with the rest of the series. As this is book 1, I think it really set up the story, and the ending really set up what's coming on in the next 2 books, and that's what, you know, book 1 should do, so it really accomplished that. And it also made me interested to see what Lada goes and where her motivations go, because she's also a very selfish person because that's who she's grown up to be. But then there's also things holding her down, like her brother, or like, you know, the love interest that was introduced. About the romance, really enjoyed that. That should have been there from the beginning. And it did get steamy in ways I did not think it would, so that was pleasantly surprising. But yeah, I'm actually interested to read the rest of the series, which is odd because usually the first book in the series is my favorite book because I'm really one who enjoys character exposition, getting to know the characters, the setting, the plot, the world building, and everything is mainly explored in the first book, or at least like it sets it up. And that's usually what I'm in for, that expositionary period. So it's weird that I'm rating this book 3 stars and hoping that it only gets better, but it interested me enough to keep reading, so I will keep reading eventually. Final thoughts I just want to say is that I think the author thought their reader was gonna have like specific attachment to certain ships because there's like a love pentagon going on right now. And if I knew who any of these characters were, I would care and like choose sides and whatever, but like I don't know who they are. Like things genuinely got crazy and out of control, but I didn't know what was happening because I didn't even know who we were talking about. With that being said, it's no wonder that my twin really enjoys this book, because if there was like a book I'd use to like describe her or a certain character, I would definitely go with this book or Azula from Avatar. Like that's very much her vibe, her kind of thing. And that cutthroat, kind of bloody, messy situations is very much what this book is. If it just wasn't so slow in the beginning and didn't take me so long to read, I'd probably rate it higher. But yeah, the way it took me like a couple of weeks to get through this was kind of annoying. All right, so we're done with book 1, on to book 2. Hi, so it's been a bit, well, for me it's been a bit, for you it probably hasn't. I'm starting my second book today, and that is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, and I am so excited. I first read this in 8th grade and I gave it 5 stars then. I remember it being magical and wonderful, so if it holds up, it holds up. I remember so much and so little. Like the memories are there, but I don't exactly remember like the clear path of it. I'll explain this book. So The Night Circus is about these two illusionists named Marco and Celia, and from a young age they're pitted against each other from their mentors in this competition, and the competition itself isn't really clear. They just have a stage, which is the Night Circus, and they just have to inherently survive. The common criticisms are on the romance or just how long this book is, but I don't think it's gonna take me that long to read because I'm already like, I think 30 pages into it and I just want to keep going. I have nothing to do this whole day other than I have to go to my job and turn in some forms. So other than that, I think I can just fly through it. Like, why not? Nothing's stopping me. So I'll be back in a bit to give you an update. Okay, hi, I'm back. Does it look like anything changed? Because I've been reading. First of all, everything is a bit vague. It's just a bit vague because I think I remember some stuff. Like I forgot about the 2 timelines. How did I forget about that? There's 2 timelines in this book. It follows 2 timelines. The earlier timeline is in the 1880s where it follows Celia and Marco and the beginning of the Night Circus, and then it follows the circus later in the early 1900s, and it follows Bailey, who's a farm child who just wants more adventure in his life, and it's him exploring the circus. That's all I'm gonna give away, I guess, for now because we don't really know much more. But just these are the books. Oh my god, just books like these really make you so immersed and so involved in the story. Marco, I'm free at 6. Please pick me up for dinner. I'll be waiting. I love how I don't have to know most of the historical setting of it because personally I don't know any of the historical setting. I believe it takes place in like the Victorian times, like the 1880s. I absolutely love the second person narrative she puts in. Like sometimes she lets you explore the circus in your own lens. Like you smell this, you hear this, you see this happening in front of you. It's all very lively. I love how there's so many characters as well. In my opinion, each of them are very distinct and I can like differentiate all of them, but I understand if that's confusing. I've been reading the whole entire day. It's like 3 p.m. right now and I can't put it down. I haven't ate anything. Like I'm 40% through already. I think I can finish it. I'll see you in a bit. Okay. Hi, it's a bit later. So I'm on page, let's check. I'm on page 285 out of like 510. So I'm more than halfway through and it's very compelling. Don't get me wrong, but Marco is just, I take it back. He's very one-dimensional. Celia too. Like I'm looking for her flaws. I'm looking for ways that, you know, she isn't always in the right, but she always just wants to do the right thing and get things done. And I think that's supposed to make me value her more, but in general, I'm just very wary about the whole situation. I really just don't like Marco's intentions for everything. Like I see people's complaints on the romance and like I see it. Personally for me, I just feel like it's missing something. But one thing I do really love is Erin Morgenstern's writing. Like I don't know how much I can compliment it without you already like hearing the compliments. So I'm just gonna fly through this some more. Hello. So I have less than 100 pages of this beautiful book right here. I know, I'm almost done. This day, it's been a blur. Oh my god, I don't even know. Where has the day gone? I don't know because I've been reading the whole day, nothing else. I feel like the ending of this book is just not going to be satisfying enough. We're building up so much, we have so much going on, and I think it's gonna fall a bit flat. Right now at the moment, I am breathless, and I think what would solidify this as a 5-star read for me is if the ending is what I want it to be. I want it to go where it's going. Like it's going very well. Like I'm scared, but I'm a bit hopeful. Things are falling into place, but I just don't know if it's gonna hit. I have finished. I have a lot to say. So I've been thinking about lazy endings recently. and I really think this one had potential. Everything that was at stake here was so groundbreaking. Honestly, 4.5 stars, still rounding up to 5 stars, was a contender to rate this book. I believe it was the first half of the last third of the book. Does that make sense? I was really thinking of lowering my star rating by 0.5, but like my fingers, they physically couldn't do it. Like I couldn't go to the 4, it couldn't go to the point. It was at 5. They were like, So I took that as a sign, and I'm leaving it at 5 stars. Because yes, it was that amazing. Let's talk about it. One, I really loved seeing Prospero and Alexander's teaching methods. Alexander is Marco's mentor, who's like teaching him magic and like how to win this game. We'll get to the game in a minute because I have some things on that. And then Prospero is Celia's father, who's her mentor. And I really liked their teaching styles and how much they were different from each other and how much they were the same. They're the two people who pitted Marco and Celia against each other in this game. The game in this book is not clear. If you're looking for a story that spits out what it's saying, the synopsis matches the book, this ain't that book for you, Chief. I think I should talk about the characters. I really enjoyed Bailey. The first time I read it, I significantly remember enjoying Bailey's perspective of the story because he meets two other characters who are children of the circus and have been brought up with the circus, and I like their relationship together. Reading it this time, everything still stands. Like, I still loved it. I don't think I'm being that clear exactly I loved about it because it was just such a trip. Like, I read it all in one day. It was a blur. I guess that goes along with Marco and Celia as well, even though they were the main protagonists. They had no flaws, and I know they're deep, but their emotions never really shine past the surface. And I guess that's what people were saying when they thought the writing was a bit much or everything else was a bit much. But in my opinion, the atmosphere is what drove the story, and the characters are what added on to it. I just think the main characters themselves took a backseat to the whole circus going on. I should explain the circus. The circus is like a magical place, again, where Celia and Marco are having their... It's not really a fight, it's just a game on who survives. To wrap up my final thoughts on this book, Chan and I are going to disagree here because this was 5 stars. It was phenomenal. I love the atmosphere. I love everything about it. I love the book itself. I love the writing. I love the characters, and it's just a book you have to experience, and it leaves you nostalgic when you're not reading it. I think if it wasn't a one-day read, I'd have more coherent and pinpointed thoughts on exactly what I disliked and where I can see exactly where Chan's coming from. It was a brilliant read. It's 5 stars. 8th grade me would be so happy. The whole time. It was transcending. Hi guys, welcome back, I guess. I'm about to start book 3, which is The Wicked Saints by Emily Duncan. I don't know anything about this book other than the synopsis, which I don't really understand. I tried picking it up physical format because that's how I prefer to read books, but it is a Russian-inspired story, so there's like Russian names, and each of the chapter titles are also in Russian, and I did not understand any of it. Like, I was literally reading 2 pages every 5 minutes. So I decided to get it via audio, and that is how Chan listened to it too. I'll link her video down below where she reads her Twitter followers' most disappointing books. I have not seen that video. Well, obviously I saw it when it came out, but I've not seen it recently because I don't want to be influenced. So far though, I'm just scared because keep in mind, I don't read a lot of fantasy. The only fantasy I do read is particularly for the romance. I'm a simple gal, but I do know this follows 2 male leads and 1 female leads, and I honestly hate books who do that because there's always unnecessary attraction that develops. For example, in An Ember in the Ashes, in Girl Serpent Thorn, there's always 2 people of the same gender and then 1 of the opposite gender, and it's just like so unnecessary, and there's always like a love triangle or romance that forms, and I don't like picking sides, and I like my ships to be canon. Not that the book boils down to being a romance, but I don't like it. I really don't prefer it that way. I'm gonna keep listening and update y'all in a little bit. Okay guys, I am 20% in right now. I've been listening, you know, via audiobook, and it just reminded me of why I don't listen to audiobooks that often, because I have no idea what is happening right now, and I think it's a bit crazy confusing right now. I understand the first part. Basically, we follow 3 different storylines. The first one follows Nadia, who is a Kalyazin, and she is someone who can speak to the gods, and her nation is at war with another nation, and they are the Trinavia people. These pronunciation guys, I'm sorry. I know I'm listening via audiobook, but I'm still like, what are you saying? Basically, these 2 nations are at war with each other. In the first beginning pages, Nadia, who is being trained by priests in the mountains, gets attacked on by the opposing nation, and from that raid, Nadia meets Mal. He has a much longer name, but I am not going to attempt to say it. Maliacus, I think. He's basically Trinavian, and they have to form like some sort of alliance together for reasons I cannot say. And the third storyline is the prince of Trinavia, who is Seraphim, and he, for his own reasons, connect with Nadia and Mal Mal as well. That is as much as I can say right now, because where I am reading, they just met, Nadia and Mal, and the first meeting usually says so much. There's so much tension. There's always the first exposition of what you think of them. I'm believing these two are the main romance love interests because Seraphin's doing his own thing right now. And their meeting, Nadia and Mal, was just so plain, such a bore to listen to. I was like, this is how sparks are gonna ignite? By this? I'll pass. Maybe I understand nothing, or maybe I'm just bored. Who knows? I think I'm done listening for today because I do not want to listen to any more. So yeah. Hi guys, it's been a hot minute since I last updated you guys. I'd like to say it's because I'm listening to it via audiobook and I don't listen to audiobooks a lot, but it is honestly because I'm so confused and I don't understand anything that's going on, and it's purely because I am bored and not paying attention. I was just really curious to see how other people were feeling about this book, so I tweeted this on Twitter and the responses I got were honestly hilarious to me. Like, I knew many people were disappointed by it because Chan was reading it as her Twitter followers' most disappointing books, but I was just not expecting the responses I got. Some people are on the opposite end of it, which I can kind of see. Not that I'm judging, because different books mean different things to different people, but the majority of responses I got do feel the negative way towards it. Like, I'm not gonna DNF it either way. I do plan on finishing it, but like, oh my god, I straight up listened to an hour of it. All I was doing the whole time was like online shopping for anime merch, and if that doesn't describe me right now, I don't know what else does. I'm a little under 50% through, and what I realized is that I am not surprised that this is a debut novel, but I'm not saying that it reads like a debut in a negative way. It's not even the fact that it's tropey or predictable to the point that it's stupid. It's just like certain books read like a debut, and after you've been reading for a while, you can just tell when authors are experimenting and seeing what they like for their characters and for the plot. I think you just have to like read it to understand, but it is definitely like a debut kind of novel. I have no like solid facts in here, like nothing particular that the characters did or plotline it's going on that I would like to share with you. I just find it incredibly boring. I was just reading and I'm like, is this every fantasy book ever, or is there substance to it? Like, let me know. All I've retained is war and gods, and I'm pretty sure that summarizes the whole book. Hi party people, it's definitely been a quick hot minute since I last updated you on this book. So I'm almost done with the book, and being the impatient person I am, I decided to watch Chan's video to see her thoughts on it. She starts off the video by complaining about the Russian accents, and personally for me, I don't listen to audiobooks that often, so I genuinely can't distinguish what is a good audiobook accent and what is not. I feel like I kind of set myself up for failure by deciding to read it via audiobook when I don't read audiobooks in general, when I don't really pick up YA fantasy in general, because my thoughts are not on the very high end of this book. She also continues on to say that she thinks she's stupid because she didn't understand most of it, and I'm here to confirm, girl, me neither. I literally learned more about this book in 6 minutes of watching Chan talk about it than in the 8 hours I spent listening to it. I just think that emphasizes my whole experience with this book. She also highlights the parallels between Shadow and Bone in this book, and I have not read the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I do plan on reading it before the TV show comes out. I have read the Six of Crows duology 3 times, but I've not picked up Shadow and Bone yet. And if that's anything like this book, I'm probably not gonna enjoy it that much either. I'm just gonna say I totally understand why this is on some people's disappointing books of the year list. Not me per se, because I didn't have that much high expectations to begin with. I'm gonna listen to the last like 30 minutes I have of this audiobook and then give you my final thoughts. Your girl has finished. She has completed it. I should take these off. These are my blue light glasses and I'm very vibing with them. I also have them in black. Would recommend, considering I am like editing all day or doing, you know, schoolwork all on my computer. Would recommend. Plus, clear glasses are kind of a vibe, and my eyesight is like tragic. So I wrote down a few things, and not very interesting, because first of all, I agree with Chan on her rating. I give it 2 stars as well. If this book had more of a higher emphasis on the romance or a less emphasis on how much of a debut it was, I probably would have rated it higher. I agree with Chan on the fact that she says that this book relies on its characters and how stupid they are to not piece things together. That would usually annoy me in books, but I'm very forgiving towards my characters, so I didn't really mind that factor when it came in play in here. What I did mind though was how long it took me to listen to this, how bored I was while listening to it. This might be shallow, but I 100% would have rated this book higher if this guy was my type. And I am not afraid to admit that in the slightest. My type in guys is usually like the soft guys, the nice ones, the underrated ones, those bad boys, and the ones that just sulk in the corner and like to do their own mastermind thing. Like, no, not my type. I genuinely don't have a lot to say other than the fact that everyone is right. Like those tweets I showed you and what people are saying about this book is like completely correct. I am not continuing on in this series, and I would be disappointed if I had high expectations, but those expectations weren't necessarily there in the first place. Hey guys! Welcome to the final book of this reading vlog, which is The Couple Next Door. I'm kind of sad that we're already on the last book, but at the same time, The Wicked Saints and Darken took me way too long to get through. So I plan on finishing this book today and tomorrow just so I can get it like over with. That's how I read anyway. I do have an AP Environmental Science test tomorrow, so pray for me because my priorities are simply reading right now. Will I pull another all-nighter? Only time will tell. Anyway, point is, what is the point? Let me tell you the point. The point is I am already 11% through with it, and you know, it's thrilling me, and isn't that the point of a thriller, to thrill you? So I think it's doing its job because I'm being thrilled right now. Considering I read less than 5 thrillers last year, I don't think I'm one to give you my opinions on the thriller genre, but this one is, you know, getting the job done so far. Basically, the premise of this book is that there's a husband and wife. One night they go to a dinner party and leave their baby at home all alone, and then when they return from that dinner party, they discover their baby to be missing. And that's all I know about the book so far. I've just started and it's really gripping me. I'm interested to see where it goes. The book is only 308 pages, so it's a short book that I can just fly through. My only thoughts so far is that it's a marriage story, and marriage is just so boring. Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep reading. What is up, my favorite party people? So I ended up reading up till 50% of The Couple Next Door last night. My AP Environmentals test did not go well, but what did we expect, guys? I am over junior year already. I didn't plan on updating you guys till I was farther in the book, but we just got to a plot twist that relies solely on convenience, and I just had to talk about it because that's not what I'm here for. As I was reading before 50%, I was like, this book isn't like totally a one-star read. Like, how can so many people not like it? But I think it's kind of interesting. Like, for one thing, the mom of the story, whose daughter got stolen from her name is Anne. She suffers from postpartum depression, and I don't know the first thing about postpartum depression, and hearing about it from Anne's perspective and knowing how she feels is honestly just so raw and real to me. With that being said, this book is a thriller and it takes place in a short span of days, so everything happening is fast-paced one after another. But right as we were at that 50% mark, something just so convenient happened, like a small tidbit about one character's backstory lined up. It's just annoying when that happens, because good writing in a thriller, it depends on you to have foreshadowing, to have a build-up. But I feel like the killer, well in this case the kidnapper, is going to be someone completely random just so the audience can be shocked. Or I do have a few guesses, but I don't read thrillers that often, as I said, so they're probably wrong. Maybe it's because I'm going into this book having no high hopes at all, that I'm okay with everything happening. But yeah, I'll see y'all after I read the last 50% to wrap up my final thoughts on this book. Hey guys, I'm back. I'm done. I finished The Couple Next Door. Let me just tell you my final thoughts on the book. I am going to rate it a 1.5, but rounding it up to 2 stars. So at the end of the day, it's a okay book. I usually don't do the whole 0.5 rating system, but I've been watching, you know, a lot of anime recently, and that's how I rate my anime. I totally get why Chan rated this 1 star and so many people don't like it. It is white mediocrity at its finest. Literally the definition of it. And I'll explain why in a bit, but I just expected it to be pure trash and wanting to like fling my phone across the room, and I didn't really feel those emotions. But once you look at it in perspective, it's just like a badly written book. To begin, for starters, everything that was revealed was purely convenience-based. And as I said before, that's just bad writing. Every clue that was set in place or key information, it was just offered to you. Also, Read with Cindy's Worst Books of the Year video features this book. I'll link it down below because that's exactly how I felt on this book. But I did give it a higher rating because I just haven't read thrillers in a while, and I was like low-key thrilled for some part of it. I did predict who the main kidnapper was. I can't really reveal it, but I didn't think I'd be able to predict it, but I was like, this isn't adding up, and there's like a reason why it wasn't adding up. The plot twist at the end though, didn't predict that. Let me know if you did, because why would I have ever saw that coming? Or maybe I could have seen it coming, but I personally just didn't care. Like, usually thrillers make me want to root for the bad guy. That's like a sign of a thriller doing its job right. If it makes me question whose side I'm on, perspective and all of that. Yeah, this didn't do it for me because every character was like solely based on their one motivation. Even the side characters. The author made sure that you knew who to trust, who not to trust. Like, for example, there were these detectives in there and I had absolutely no faith in them because they were being so stupid and unprofessional. And it's like they didn't even care about what was happening right in front of them. And the people struggling in the story who actually like lost their baby and are going through it were the ones like trying to figure it out. They do reveal who the kidnapper is like halfway through the book. So the rest of the book is kind of just mellow after, because you're not really wanting the kidnapper to survive, because every character in this book is just effed up and their motivations are literally just told to you. Therefore, you can't even assume they had like ulterior motives or they were doing the right thing, because like they weren't. By they, I don't mean specifically the kidnapper, like everyone's effed up. So yes, this book is just as stupid as everyone says it is, but I think I would recommend this maybe if you're into thrillers. Like, it was a fast-paced book, things were moving along. No part of it exactly felt slow for me. Like, I just wanted to read the next chapter and see what was gonna happen. Granted, everything did happen in the last 2 chapters, and if that's like one of your pet peeves, then I would avoid reading this book. But I mean, that ending was something else. I just personally, as a character-based reader, if I don't care about the characters in the first place and the writing is just so mediocre and the plot is predictable, you don't have the most for me going on. I did watch her like spookathon vlog on where she read this book, and I also completely agree with her. All right, well, I guess that's it. That concludes this vlog. To summarize my experience here and our tastes, I think they do align. I think, or maybe Chandler's just more critical than me. The first book was Ain't I Darken. I think she would have given it around 2 stars. I gave it 3 stars, so I rated that higher than her. For the Night Circus, there's a big difference here. She rated it 2 stars. I gave it 5 stars because it is wonderful. For the Wicked Saints, we agreed on the same rating, which was 2 stars, as it deserves. And then for the Couple Next Door, she rated it 1 star and I rated it 1.5, but basically 2 stars. So I think we've come to realize that some bad books are simply bad for everyone, and this was super fun. I haven't told Chan that I'm specifically doing this. I think she got the gist though, so when she sees this in her sub box, surprise. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and I hope I can see you guys in the next video.